this instance, and he's been able to carry it through, which is why Sentinels, it was such an important part of that roster that eventually made icons in 2022.
Were you ever able to find someone that plays Claw on mobile? Because I think it'd be really funny to watch.
I did not see someone playing
Okay.
Claw, at least not in person.
Not in person. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Mark, I have horrible news for myself. There is a new champion on my screen. I see a Ornn being picked here, which I'm glad we were talking about our Baron laners, but this champion is new for me, although I know that this champion exists in League of Legends PC. So, from what I know about Ornn, from watching a little bit of videos on Ornn individually for Wild Rift, not much is different. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Ooh,
and
I
played a couple games on him as well. I was trying to see if I could do the Ornn combo. I think it's possible. The only thing you can't do is you cannot do the R flash where you you R and then flash to like hit the ulti earlier. You can just flash and then R so you can be closer, I guess, to get a faster cast off. So that's what it seems like. There might be other mechanics that we have not seen yet. But to catch everyone up on the ban picks, as you already called out, Vladimir also locked in for the side of MohLIEVERS. Gragas for a flex pick. It's undetermined whether this is going to be going into the jungle or it will be support quite yet, as Puddi are going to lock themselves down with the Outstar to match that Kai'Sa in the Dragon Lane.
Okay. Well, I love what we're getting from MohLIEVERS, but I'm a little afraid about what happens in the early game, right? Like Ornn, Vladimir, champions that they do have some power, but really are waiting to get a lot of those ultimates level 5 and then trying to come into team fights with a lot of presence, a lot of really good abilities. But you look on the opposite side, if this game goes a little bit later, there is some match from there. There's a Fiora that can be splitting on the side lane that Ornn won't be able to really deal with effectively, and Kai'Sa isn't effective enough tank buster if we really need her to be. And if we're talking about that new build or that build that you were talking about where it's the hybrid or the AP one shot, that kind of thing is very difficult to deal with if you're not on the same screen as someone. So I like what we're getting from the side of Puddi. I just want to see maybe a few more tanks. I think if we're able to round out this draft with maybe something akin to that Shen, Volibear's already been taken away, but if we get more of those tanks and maybe a little bit more, I would just like some setup for these two champions, because Fiora and Kai'Sa can take over fights.
Yeah, because it definitely seems like that Fiora would want to keep herself on the side lanes, putting pressure opposite of whatever Puddi is going to be wanting to do for a majority of the map. Ziggs being taken off the table means that MohLIEVERS are not convinced that Kai'Sa would be going in the Dragon Lane, perhaps, or if they even think that starting was going to look for a little bit of Ziggs mid action. Either way, both of those would have been great as two strong ranged backliners very far away from the fight, because at the moment, getting into the faces of Vladimir and Gragas is not a fun time for Puddi's backline.
All right. Vi, I feel, is going to be a bit homeless this game. So be very careful if you're playing Dragon Lane. Dienzio, I salute you. You're going to be getting Vi ulted almost every single time. I don't think that there's valid targets so far for the Vi. Oh my god. Okay.
Oh,
well,
it's that jungle. Or maybe
no. Oh my god.
Yeah, wait, no, because Gragas has to go support. Oh my god.
All right. Cool. Alpha, you've been I know you've been trying to push this for a really long time on League PC to mixed success. Is there anything I should know, or maybe the viewers should know, about this Zed jungle?
No, it's about the same.
All right, cool, man. All right, nice, great, cool, great, awesome. Glad we got through that one.
I will say, the funny thing about Zed Wild Rift versus League Zed is that when they buffed Zed in League to make it so that he could jungle. Like they're like, hey, we want Zed to be able to jungle, and so they gave him the ability that his passive would not have a cooldown on jungle monsters. From what I played him, that doesn't even exist. Like Wild Rift didn't intend for specifically, oh hey, yes, we want Zed to be jungle. People were just like, wait, we can make Zed jungle because we can make anything jungle because Wild Rift is awesome like that. And the first time I saw that was even a possibility, a reality, was I want to say jungler Andres from Team Queso over in the EMEA region. So that was one of the things I was like hyped up about when I was doing my prep for icons. But on the other side, Jace, the classic for starting, he kind of mollywopped some people a couple weeks ago on this champion. So we're going to see if we can do it again. As it kind of follows what Puddi are looking for with that long range poke, as we saw from the Kai'Sa lock-in as well.
I am interested to see what role Zed will play in this game because I think he does have a bit of a different job compared to the rest of his team. Corki can poke out. You have Gragas who can be that engage, but also can play a little bit of a flex role by going engage. We already talked about how Ornn and Vladimir really want fights to go a little bit longer and for them to use their ultimate abilities. Whereas you look for Zed just kind of wants to go in. I wonder if Zed is going to be playing a similar poke role to something like the Corki, but has the ability to actually finish off kills. That'll be a really cool way of kind of changing the identity of how you really want to be able to find good marks for Zed. And if he gets off to an early start, if he's able to kind of power farm and get himself a couple of items, this could be a little worrisome as he can take care of starting or Gume.
Man, it's so good to be back, Hulk.
I'm still trying to knock off the rust. And I'm going to be honest, Twitch chat, if you hear me say something wrong, just point it out. Let's get it out of the way, and hopefully, I can do a little bit of learning, and I can say that Twitch chat was an important part of the broadcast, which is not always the case, especially over in League PC.
And don't worry, Chad, that won't apply to me. I'm just kidding. No.
Yes.
Same thing applies to me. I'm still catching up on some Wild Rift, even though now I've had like a 2-week head start. Oh man, the nice thing about Wild Rift as well is just how fast the game pace is we're already going to be approaching that 125 Scuttle Crab spawn timer. So far, with Filet-O-Fish pathing towards the top side of the map, there's could be possibility for some skirmishing here in the river, but it looks like he's going to get here first. No contest for Molly.
And Molly now actually has a bit of a lead here. As you already see, 2 camps above his counterpart. He will have access to kind of go for whatever dive he wants. Good use of the sweeper to make sure that he's not getting spotted on vision. They should know, you already see the pings coming out, Zed is probably going to be on top side. They know both junglers have now pathed up to this side. Now Filet-O-Fish does have 2 options here. Can back, try to finish off some items, or go to the other side of the map and try to look for a gank, try to look for some his camps that are going to be respawning. That'll be really cool to see as Molly just straight up books it straight to the bottom lane. Is going to grab the scuttle, and he's here for a potential fight, which we see here. All right.
Jackie. Oh, that was a couple summoner spells burned by Jackie here. Almost was in a bad spot. JAMCo popping the heal to make sure, or I guess barrier. Make sure that they weren't in a wide heap of trouble. That's not barrier either. I'm having a dyslexia moment. Exhaust.
There are no barriers in this game. So yeah. I think we just... Is this barrier in the room with us right now?
Well, still sun's up. Lemon almost critically taken down. Filet-O-Fish could not get in range. The flash would have not been able to secure the kill as well, so both Lemon is going to get out as well as Jackie. It looks like actually Jackie's going to stay to make sure that the JAMCo can get this wave pushed in and look for a reset together.
Yeah, I mean, Gume has level 5. That's always going to be something you have to worry about. The Kai'Sa can reposition. You have so much literal killer instinct in that matter. Versus a Corki who does kind of either want to go for a poke or wait for fights to go a little bit longer. I love that Lemond is already here in mid. We'll be hitting level 5 soon enough, so that ultimate is coming soon. Starting in a bit of trouble. Seems like he's going to get out. And Molly's here. Everybody's mid lane now. We're all here. We're nay-ramming it fast.
Thought I just saw a flash there. Everyone was getting super crazy there. But nice flash from starting. Is able to escape the death mark from Filet-O-Fish. A couple ultimates already burned in that exchange, though, as they look for another one. Jackie, no summoner from before, and starting, and Lemma, remember, Puddi are going to be able to pick up first blood.
That goes over to Lemon, so a little bit of gold in his back pocket, but getting good success here from a couple of the mid plays. This also still opens up. Wow, that is a really long Vi ultimate.
Hitman using the flash, bringing Molly all the way over under his tower, but Cosmic was not able to get there in time to look for a real punish, as Vladimir is not at the point where he would be Omega strong. But once he gets there, Dimitri, Vladimir, this champion does freaking damage.
Yeah, that's always been Vladimir, though. It's like, can he actually be useful? Are all the spells landing? How much of a backline threat you can be? Wanted to talk a little bit more about that kill in the mid lane. It opened up two separate plays for our mid laners here. We saw immediately the Vladimir moves up into the Baron lane. We saw starting take his recall, and again, allowing for more priority for Gume and Levmont to play through the bottom lane and set up so much of this. Because Molly made that play top lane, he goes back, he hits bottom lane, he goes towards the dragon lane, and now they're already here for this dragon that's going to be spawning. You see Molly's already in position. I wonder what Filet-O-Fish is going to be able to do because the Rift Herald is spawning. It seems like their option is going to be starting this objective. I was wondering, maybe are we going to be looking for something top, get the orange to move on down, but we're still contesting this dragon.
The Black Code of Doom sent Cosmic into almost imminent death, forced to flash over. Jackie tried to throw him a solid one, and it also went into the pit before he was forced to flash as well. At least they found out that they were doing the dragon, as the rest of their team committed to the Rift Herald. They're going to try to break this mid tower.
Okay, now with this Rift Herald, you kind of put yourself a little bit on a clock. You are getting a lot of mid priority by being able to open up this turret. But we need to see them kind of find more picks, specifically try to track where Molly is, because wherever Molly isn't, I think is a good spot for them, especially because we were talking about having all those ultimates.
Nice cast from Jackie, and that's going to be enough, paired with the damage from Cosmic. The starting goes down.
That's a good find. Remember, when they can find picks, when they can grab gold individually, I think that this is a good place to be if you're the MohLIEVERS. But you do not want to get into a position where you're behind on gold. Obviously, when you're behind, you're just going to feel a lot weaker, but it's in these individual picks, especially with a Gragas, that is something you want to try to leverage when you have a champion that has so many different crowd control abilities. As I say that, immediately gets taken down, and they might even be able to go for this dive.
The pool is going to give Cosmic some time. Filet-O-Fish is here for the counter as well. No, still a couple minions, but Molly's forced to flash, but the death mark should be the end of him on the back end of it. As Gendo's going to flash in, looking for the kill on Nakume. And oh boy, MohLIEVERS are on the board with 3.
And right there is one of the reasons why Vladimir is so difficult to deal with, especially under a tower. He's able to use his pool, and suddenly you're not able to deal with this champion. Now, starting did get a lot of good damage onto this mid lane turret, but in the dragon lane right now, they're just going to take all of these plates, all of this turret, and now they've gotten a really big setup on the dragon side of the map where, hey, Hitman, he's doing fine right now. He's actually able to get away from MTS's ultimate. And so now we're going to potentially see from the side of MohLIEVERS is play through this dragon lane, potentially start to stack some of those dragons, and they can start to invade for some deep vision onto this side of the jungle.
And you know what's crazy here, Alec, is when we looked at a majority of the Void series, it seemed that Puddi was not going to have a worthy challenger. And then 2 weeks ago when we saw their last matchup, they cleared their opponents insanely fast. By this time, they were racking up a huge gold lead. This is MohLIEVERS coming in with a solid 2,000 gold lead. Yeah, it's very marginal at this point, but this is the closest match that we've seen against Puddi in the tournament so far.
We need to see them all close out. That has been kind of like the crux of like every single amazing team in Wild Rift. When we talk about like specifically North America, there was that Sentinels roster where it was this lineup, but with Glaciax, right? Yeah, like Zello and them, and they were winning every single game when we were talking about that for the Riftmaster series. But hey, and teams sometimes got gold leads, but they couldn't close out games. versus his team. And now we're going to potentially start to see this as ultimates are flying on through.
Venn diagram of doom, collisions allied, and Molly is the one that falls as JAMCo is able to rally the troops here for a ton of CC and a ton of damage. Filet-O-Fish going in onto Gume, and that death mark proved to be huge. Gume goes down as well. Lemon is able to find a response onto Jackie as JAMCo and Hitman are still alive as they flat on in. Oh, but Lemon goes into the tower! We're starting, they're able to find a response onto JAMCo. Well, that was a surprise for sure.
Okay, look at what's happening across the map right now. MTS, he went into the Dragon lane, wasn't able to find much success. The Vlad was there, the Vlad left, so MTS couldn't actually find a fight, and they're just avoiding some of the stronger members or overloading that side like we saw here in the Baron lane. By finding all those picks, there's a great re-engage from Lemon to try to even up some of the kills, but you look across and top lane, the Baron lane turrets are still available for themselves. They're pushing very hard onto the bottom side, and so now it's allowing for MohLIEVERS to say, hey, look, you have to answer these waves. Now you're going to have to force us on uneven footing. Ultimates are all available, but my eyes are going to be on these summoner spells as JAMCo gets caught right before the objective.
That package is not going to save you this time, unfortunately. The CC layering was too good for Puddi. That is a bad time to be going down as the fight just might continue. Filet-O-Fish forced the flash. Hitman coming in with the call. The force got good knock up here as he can find another one into the heart of the fight. Molly's getting knocked up as well. But without JAMCo, without Cosmic, there's no real damage to follow up onto the fight. And no one goes down from Puddi.
That should have just been them backing away from this objective. I think MohLIEVERS getting too lost in the sauce for this moment, so it's going to be a second dragon going over to the side of Puddi, and now they have access to this mid lane turret. It's not very healthy either, so they can just walk up to this objective after this next wave, after they take their reset, and that I feel like is kind of that swing that we've been talking about. And now MTS got alone time. This is the most important part that we haven't really got to see during this game on the Fior, is him actually able to sit in a side lane, be a threat. It has been all these different fights happening on opposite sides, and Molly just goes right in and tries to fight Filet and is not able to grab that kill.
Oh, that was such great timing on the shadows there from Filet-O-Fish, waiting until the very bitter end before blinking back out. But now, unfortunately, it looks like Cosmic was left on the other side as he goes down. No.
Oh my God, Gume!
Under the tower, doesn't give a damn that there is one right there to begin with as he finds Filet-O-Fish on the back end. Just like that, game is still even, but kills are being amassed by the side of Puddi. It seems that momentum is finally finding their stride.
It was that one fight. They got 2 picks. They got a dragon, and now they got 2 of the outer turrets that were standing here for the side of MohLIEVERS. And hey, we talked about they can scale. They have that ability on the side of MohLIEVERS, but when we look on the opposite side towards Puddi, you still have incredibly strong champions. 2 Miramanas are now finished here for starting in Gume, and they're just getting more and more items. MTS is going to be finishing his second as well. And it's only going to get tougher, and so they need to be very, very picky about which fights they're going for, who they are engaging on, and making sure that JAMCo and this Vlad can actually deal damage, because they weren't there. Vlad got immediately deleted right after JAMCo did.
The members of MohLIEVERS are getting popped like balloons out here, Alec, and as you called out, you know, this is the time where Puddi are starting to hit those important break points. The mid game, super strong, as soon we'll be heading into that late game portion where we'll be fighting over that 3rd dragon. The Baron has also spawned at this time. If a fight goes awry for MohLIEVERS, it would be incredibly easy for the Puddi squad to be able to burn down that Baron.
Yeah, this game is in a bit of a precarious situation for both teams. Like you were saying, that Baron can open it up for MohLIEVERS to be able to grab this, but picks like these, and especially when we're using ultimates like this, it does open up a small window here for Puddi, who should not be considered slouches in this manner. They're going to grab this mid-tier 1 and immediately find an exchange.
And it just doesn't stop here. Puddi sees one target. They eliminate Jackie, almost taking out Filet-O-Fish and JAMCo on the back end of the other one. Cosmic able to escape all the damage thanks to that pool. But Puddi got what they needed. MTS, meanwhile, still keeping up the pressure as now they're going to start doing the dance to Baron.
Okay, and you saw how they found that fight. One thing I will say is Vladimir, unfortunately, was not able to deal that deeps that we were looking for, so it's all about that target acquisition and maybe coming in from a different flank angle. That's maybe something I want to see as this game is going to start to get out of hand very quickly. They're going to come off of reset. They are all redeploying at the same time back out onto the map after fixing some of these waves. So now what I want to see from MohLIEVERS is, if we're talking about a comeback, is we need to get deep vision. We need to make sure that we're looking for flanks, looking for creative angles that'll kind of throw off the front line, because right now what we're seeing is all 5 members are walking into each other face first, and we're doing that front to back style, and that's really good when we have stuff like this Jace and this Kai'Sa who can reposition.
Jackie was looking for a pick, but there's no pick to be found except for his ass that gets taken out of the fight. Hitman also looking for the call of Porchkov, but the exhaust is just taking him out of the game. And Dienzio, I don't know where he can go. He's going to run to Cosmic, but Cosmic just gets there just to see him die. And this looks like the final push out. If Cosmic goes down, there'll be no one else left to defend the base of MohLIEVERS.
Okay, there's the last couple outer turrets. We've got Dragon Lane bottom tier 2, but it's the inhibitor turrets that we're going to start to knock on for the side of Puddi. Rafa, it was just too early for us to call. We knew it in our hearts. Puddi, they've been undefeated so far throughout this bracket, and it looks like they had some trials and tribulations throughout the mid game, but really just doesn't seem like much is in their way. They're going to grab the third Drake as well and try to clear out this game. Puddi making a very convincing run all the way to the grand finals after this.
May have called it a little early, but it does seem like the dominoes are set in place, as you called it, Dimitri. The third dragon of the game being taken. I did want to ask, because I myself don't know, or I don't remember, why is the shield there for the Nexus? What triggers the shield?
It's like an initial shield. If I remember correctly, it's like supposed to stop like the game immediately ending if there's like a couple people alive. It's similar to like with minions and turrets, where the turret takes less damage if there's minions nearby. But I could be wrong. If that's how I'm wrong, then know what the Nexus turrets, you can keep your secrets. I don't need that. Okay. Oh my god.
Interesting. Cool. Got a little word in our ear. If there's an inhibitor taken before 20 minutes, or I guess just making sure that the game can last longer than that period of time. So right now you see Puddi just kind of poking and prodding, seeing if they can get a real engage going for themselves yet, but just getting a ton of damage also in the backside of it, as Jackie is forced to disperse the fight with that explosive cask. So they're just holding on. They know that the odds are stacked against them now. Down 7,000 gold against Puddi, a foe that they have played against multiple times over the past couple of years. We have seen here in the Wild Rift scene in many different iterations. And it seemed like that early game was going so well. They actually had themselves a decent gold lead. And somehow Puddi are able to wrangle it right back on.
Well, it was good team fighting from them, and I think maybe for the side of MohLIEVERS, not necessarily them calling their shots or really looking for it. They are finishing some items. Dienzio has gotten to 3 items. That is going to be as important as ever. Cosmic now finishing 3. We'll see what they can do here.
Jackie might be the first one to fall here. Nice call to Forge God, gets a decent knockup into the frontline members, but everyone is now just dogpiling right into the front line, and Dienzio just cannot find any members to damage himself with. Cosmic also falls as Molly just chased him right into the heart of the base, and that should be it, Dimitri. The Nexus is exposed, and Puddi will take game 1.
And not a single member died during that last fight. So we talked about a flawless run. Still got some work to do here in this series, but Puddi looking dominant as ever. I mean, I'm glad that I watched a couple VODs just to make sure that these guys are still the GOATs. Still doing it, still putting in work.
Man. It is still refreshing to see, some of the old faces still duking each other out. I will say, there's a little bit of like silver lining of like, wow, MohLIEVERS actually had some solid, really good moves in the early game. But you know what? I forget that this is the part where we get to kind of bring in other people where they have been watching the scene more
Yes.
consistently and longer than we have. So, and it's not just one. Normally for the other series, we only had one guest analyst, but this time we get two for the price of one. So we're going to bring on
Oh,
both MBlaziken and Pierce. So starting with MBlaziken, I want to get your thoughts of how this first game went between MohLIEVERS and Puddi.
I mean, the first thing that sticks out to me that I'm always gonna complain about whenever I see it is I think that crit builds just make you go too slow, right? You guys talked about it a lot, but when you have that early lead, especially against a team that's as good as Puddi, I think you really need to make sure you're capitalizing on it. And when you go that crit build, the Enzio going the Collector into that Infinity Edge and then the Solar Charge,